Wherever you are in the world, a pleasant morning, afternoon, and evening to all of you. I am Danica, the treasurer from PATA Philippines LPU Manila Student Chapter, and I will be your host for today. In this event, we are in collaboration with Bangkok University, Christ University, Dusit Thani College, and the Hong Kong Polytechnic University. Today, I would like to welcome you to our PATA Youth webinar entitled Spotlighting Various Careers in the Tourism Industry, co-organized with PATA Philippines LPU Manila Student Chapter. I am personally very excited for this webinar as we have invited four special guest speakers. We have Ms. Ben Montgomery, Director of Business Relations Management, Centara Hotels and Resorts, Thailand. Mr. Mayur Patel, Regional Sales Director, JAPAC OAG. Ms. Megan Epler, Special Advisor on Sustainable Tourism Development, PATA. Mr. Mochamad Nalendra, Founder and CEO, Wise Steps Consulting, Indonesia. Today's webinar is a 1.5-hour session starting with insightful presentations by our guest speakers, followed by a panel discussion and live question and answer. Before we go on, allow me to do some housekeeping announcements. Please use the question and answer function on the bottom of your Zoom screen as shown on your screens. If you have any questions for our guest speakers, please do not ask any questions in the chat. Chat function is there for you to introduce yourself to the group. To introduce yourself to the guest speakers and really connect with each other while we are doing the panel discussion.
Sorry, Danica, there's an echo.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah. Just a technical difficulty, everyone. I know everyone's been there. So yeah, can you try again?
Hello, everyone.
Yep, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, apologies for that technical error. So let us now move on for our first guest speaker. May I introduce to you Ms. Ben Montgomery, Director of Business Relations Management, Centara Hotels and Resorts. She is currently the chairperson of PATA Thailand chapter, Vice President for the Thai Hotels Association, Vice President of ASEAN Hotel and Restaurant Association, Executive Board Member of PATA, and Trustee of PATA Foundation. Let us welcome her. Ms. Montgomery, you may now have the stage. I think her mic is muted. Hello, Ms. Montgomery.
Can you hear me now? All right.
Yeah. All
Okay.
right. Please say a few welcoming words for our audience, and you may now share with us your insights.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. Everybody can call me Auntie Ben if you are younger than me. I've been with PATA for 15 years, and I'm the hotelier by accident. And I'm so happy I got invited to share my experience with you today. My presentation is just a journey, a little journey of me, how I get into it, and what a little recap. I believe that you guys might already know. Can I have a next slide, please? Yeah. So this is me, basically. I got into it by accident. I will walk you through it. I was from Chiang Rai, and I got into Chiang Mai University. I got into Country Club Casino by accident as their intern, and then worked through hotels in Bangkok. I returned from my maternity leave of 5 years. I joined PATA head office, and now I'm with Centara for 10 years. It's a fun journey. I shoot one video of 1 minute of Centara, but it is a little small case of why tourism and hotels are so much fun. Can I have you show the video, please? Thank you. Next slide, please. No, next slide. Next slide. Next, please. Next one. Next. Yes. So with that video, you know, I feel myself, and I believe many of us feel the same way. Just after looking at 1 minute video, you feel happy. And that's what our industry brings to us. You know, if you love travel, if you love to be happy, why don't you make it a career? As simple as that. Next slide, please. Yeah, and now our tourism has a challenge. You know, it's not easy. It's not the happy stamp on passport and people go and visit the hotel anymore. You get to be challenged to make our travelers truly happy and bring back their experience. So in fact, it's not that easy job, you know. So next, please. I found this about 7 years ago. You guys said Instagram and Snapchat and whatsoever, later on younger generation. But my generation, it was Facebook when we started. And I found this one on Facebook, I think about 7 years ago or 8 years ago, and I saved it. You know, I said one day I might use it again. This is what people think about the nurse, right? So what you think and what the society thinks about the nurse are different. So may I have the next slide, please? There are a lot of jobs in hotels itself. So this is just a sample of the hotel. Start from A to Z. And in hotels, we have premium brands where you have butler service, you have people everywhere. The ratio of hotels room and the key might be 1 hotel guest for 3 staff to please them. Or nowadays with technology, we might have 150 rooms with 15 staff run the hotel. So the jobs are there for you at your preference. Okay, so next, please. We're gonna go, please click it quickly to go through. The next slide, please. So like, this is a flight attendant, you know, it's not my slide, I copied. There are things that your friends think what you do if you flight attendant, but what you actually do are different, right? So this is just the first, how can I say, first position. Matt can tell you more about, you know, the airlines, that whenever people think about airlines, you only think about flight attendants, but in fact, it's not. There are many people to make that plane and the airline run. Okay, next, please. The server, right? And this is the first entry job for restaurant. There are many jobs up there. Next, please. Lifeguard, very important in the theme park. And the lifeguards are one of the key players, very important. We value them. And that's where the managers start, many of managers start their life, the position there. Next, please. Yeah, the receptionist. Nowadays, receptionists not doing one job, multi-skills, multi-jobs that we are building into many properties nowadays. And you get to learn. Yeah. So next, please. Travel writer, blogger become very important in our industry. Yeah. Next, please. And yes, web development into the IT, social security are very, very key player for our tourism industry. The job that you will not know if you're not already in. So my conclusion is, in hotels, it's not just students from tourism our hospitality school. We need engineer, we need finance, we need IT, we need everybody. So if you feel like you like people, next slide, please. If you enjoy being with people, if you like to make other people happy, this might be a job for you. Okay, I have a few cases of friends of mine who build themselves from start. Next slide, please. This is our mutual friends. Mac and I are friends with Justin for so long. Yeah. Part of Face of the Future is the award we give it to our tourism industry friends. Matt Patel is our very first. I just checked with him before the events start. Right, Matt is our very first part of Face of the Future in 2002. Correct, Matt? You just said, yeah. So Justin followed Matt's pathway. Justin started himself by being some room attendants in Australia, and then worked his way up in Starwood, in Sheraton brand, and now he's with Intercon. He's the general manager in Intercon. Justin, with Pata, he said he was not just the GM in Le Meridian back then when we worked together with him. He said that we need more guests, but we need more planes to get in there. So he's just not working within his hotel, but he's working with Pata and the industry to increase number of flights into Chiang Rai. So this is something that is wow, think out of the box, being creative in tourism. All right, next please. Next is our Dean of Graduate School. She is our board member, Assistant Professor Dr. Paitoon. Start her career from being a tour guide. And when she walked her guests around Thailand, she said, I can do more. She enhanced her education until she got PhD. And now she's the Dean of Graduate School from National Institute of Administration Development of Thailand. No, Development Administration of Thailand. Very, very proud member of us. I'm not so sure whether she's the very first, but she definitely a dean, the transgender, who make us proud. So tourism welcome people with passion in every shape and form. Okay, next please. My dear friend Santi Chai, starting himself, learning English from exchange student at his school. Back in Buriram, the northeast of Thailand, he said probably only two friends of his that could speak English. After the exchange students stay or study in his school for over a year, and he said that opened his world. He came to Bangkok and worked his way up from bellboy to become a general manager. He was once a general manager at Centara, but we were friends at the Oriental Hotel. So once you are friends, you're friends for life. Right now, Sandy Chai is a businessman. He trades, he's a real estate agent. His customer is a mega project internationally. So this is what the opportunity go. You're not looking at where you start, but you're working how you go. Okay, next please. So like for me, I was a journalism student from Chiang Mai University. I learned to speak English from an exchange student back when I was 14. And my world has changed. I said, there's not just Chiang Rai, or it's not just Thượng. There's the world out there for me to go and grab. After Chiang Mai University, I did my 4-month internship in Tasmania. And that's why I said, yes, hotel is where I'm gonna go. I started my career with Sheraton, in Bangkok, and then Shangri-La. I end up in Mandarin Oriental. My ex-colleagues are my mentor. My friends, were my teacher. We work together. We become real friends. And I left for 5 years. Before I left, I bid goodbye. I said, I will become a mother. I wrote them my love letter before social media. So I have everything in paper. I copy and paste, put it in my big file, saying that I don't know when I'm going to return. I put it up. And then 5 years later, my husband said, can you go back to work after the hamburger crisis hit Thailand? My husband and I have a very small company that we tried to create, but it was not successful. But with that file of my farewell notes from my friends, from industry friends, I applied with Pata and I said, hey, headhunter found me from JobDB and asked me, do you want a job? And I said, don't waste your time, don't waste my time. Hotel industry, if I have to work Saturday, I can't do it. I have my 6-month-old baby that I have to take care. I am a mother now. So if Monday to Friday, I'm with you. 9 to 5, I'm with you. You know what? To my surprise, I got a job at Pacific Asia Travel Association head office in Bangkok. But before I got that job, I knew later that they checked me. Am I faking my CV? They hunt my bosses around the world and they talk with my boss before I got the job. And all those testimonials that I worked my way up helped me, saved me with the job at Pata. I worked for Pata. I enhanced my network. That's how I met Matt Patel, and I met all my industry friends. I worked with Pata for 4 years. From network in Thailand, I expanded. I was the director of Pata chapter. So chapters around the world that I had been privileged to work with them, become friends with them until 4 years. Centara 4 years later, in 2012, Centara would like to expand their brand from Thai brand to international to regional. They're looking for someone that could help them bridging the Western culture and the Thai and export the Thai hospitality to the world to know how good we are. They approach me and I get a job with Centara. My job is the brand ambassador, but it's not exclusive for Centara. I got a chance to be a Thai ambassador, Thai tourism ambassador under Pata flag. So as Nick has experienced, we met, right? As Matt Patel experience and all my Pata friends experience, whenever we go out to attend Pata events, me representing Thai team together with Tourism Authority of Thailand and other airlines, Thai Airways and other industry people in Thailand. We represent our country to tell the world how great we are and please visit us. So, and competitors are no longer competitors. We become alliance. We help each other. So these industries are more about helping each other, compete in a way, helping, collaboration, made me want to promote travel and tourism. Yeah, so I just want to end my presentation there. Yeah. Yeah, this is just the picture of I got a chance to see many people and now we are friends for life. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing such fruitful opportunities for our young professionals in the field of tourism and hospitality, Ms. Montgomery. We are very honored to have you today. And guys, if you have any questions for Ms. Montgomery, reserve it for our question and answer portion. We will also be having our panel discussion later on, so stay tuned if you guys want to learn more. Let us now move on to our second guest speaker. He spent over 7 years at IATA in various roles, focusing on aviation data solutions and services. May I present to you Mr. Mayur Patel, Regional Sales Director of OAG. Mr. Mayur, the stage is all yours.
Thank you and good afternoon, everyone. So thank you for inviting me to present at the Patel Youth webinar today to share a bit of my experience through my career. So I can walk you through how I started in this industry and what are some of the things that I actually did to get where I wanted to in my career aspiration. So first of all, next slide, a bit about myself. So we'll walk through some of the things that I've done. So so about myself, my career journey, and some of the careers in aviation industry. So I think we'll talk about aviation industry because it's quite a broad sector and there's a lot of different opportunities for anyone that's interested in this particular exciting sector that you want to pursue your career in. Next slide. So a little bit about myself. So my name, they call me Mac. I've lived in about 5 different countries. So born in Fiji Islands, so that's the first flag. The second flag is Australia. So I went to boarding school, did my university. Then I worked for different companies within Australia before heading up to Canada, where I worked for IATA. And then I moved to Singapore, then Bangkok, Thailand, and then back to Singapore, where I'm based today. So number of years of experience, 27. So I've been in this industry from the time I graduated till today, about 27 years. And it's quite an exciting journey that I've been through. And it's all through travel and aviation throughout. So how did this interest ignite? It was about when I was 8 years old. So I really was fascinated as a little boy about travel. So growing up in Fiji Islands, we had a very small airport, but a strategic important airport because all the trans-Pacific flight that used to go from Australia to North America had to stop in Fiji for refueling. Because that time technology was not as sophisticated as today for non-stop flights. So even the 747 had to have a technical stop to refuel. So I was sent to secondary education up at the King's School in Australia, in Sydney. So that's where I used to fly on airplanes back and forth between Fiji and Australia. So that's where the interest grew stronger. And my father was also appointed by the government to be on the board of the national airline. So that actually gave it a bit more depth in terms of my interest level and all the travel that I used to do at an early age back in the 80s. After graduating from the King's School, I went to University of Technology, Sydney, where I did Bachelor of Business, majoring in tourism management. So that's where I really honed in my skills on business. Because I think the business discipline is quite wide range. You get to learn economics, accounting, management, marketing, research, public policy, and specific topics around tourism management, which you can relate to in terms of development, public policies, tourism behavior, why do tourists travel where they travel to, all the theories around that. So that helps you articulate some of the theoretical and practical aspects about the industry and the ecosystem, because tourism is quite broad, it's fragmented, and having that deep understanding of this sector is very important in order to be successful in what you do and how you correlate different interrelationship that exists between different sectors and so forth. Next slide. So a bit about my career progression, because I think a lot of youth that's currently on this channel they will need some guidance as to how you go about setting your career in progression. So it all started during my university, because my university was very much attached with the travel industry. And because I had identified airline sector as my go-to place in terms of developing my skills and my aspirations. So I was attached to Qantas Airways. It's a national airline of Australia. And that's when I actually did a customer service audit project as part of my degree in airport customer service delivery. So I was attached with them for 2 years. And I actually went through the whole process of learning the audit function, airport service delivery, all the KPIs, measuring those KPIs against what the airline was looking for at different stations, different airports, international, domestic, and so forth. Then after that, I actually landed a job at corporate agency sales. So that's where I wanted to understand the sales aspect of the business, because it was a revenue generator. So learning about the corporate side. And after that, I actually went across to Air New Zealand, and I was doing more national role there, supporting the sales department, looking at all the reporting of data sets, the industry trends, who the corporate customers were, and so forth. Then after 2001, that's when Air New Zealand and Ansett Australia merged. So I actually went and did my own travel consulting business. So that's when I started getting involved with PATA. I used to attend all the conferences, and I was an aviation analyst. So I used to go and promote aviation industry. Low-cost carriers started to emerge at that time. So I was able to use a lot of my past experience to actually learn about LCCs, as we call it now, low-cost carrier. And then one day, I was back in Australia in my apartment. I actually picked up an Economist magazine, and they were advertising all these positions in IATA in Montreal. So that's where I got interested in moving across to Canada. And so there was this job as a business analyst looking at a new product development that's using all the billing settlement plan data. And having a strong background with data from my Qantas and New Zealand days, it was a perfect fit for what I needed to do. So I went across, I developed an industry product called Pack Size Direct Data Service, DDS, which is currently used by different airlines, airports, and the travel industry. And from there, I actually came to Singapore, and I looked after the passenger services side of business for IATA BSP Singapore, and then went back to selling the solution that I had built. And that was to cover all the Asia Pacific, China, Australia, India, Japan, and so forth, the local regional markets. And then I was roped in concurrently. I was double hatting as a commercial manager for the direct data service project, which is increasingly an important project for IATA. So that allowed me to sort of look at new areas of product development, engaging with different airlines, and so forth. So IATA gave me a very strong background in terms of what I needed to do for my next progression in my career. So the next slide talks about when I actually moved to Bangkok, where I was the head of regional sales for travel intelligence for Asia Pacific, Middle East, and North Africa, out of Bangkok, but traveling to Middle East as well as traveling to other parts of Asia Pacific. And that's when I started managing a team of people. And so having that experience in product development, commercial, being a sales person, and then managing a team underneath my leadership. So I had a good run in there for about just over 4 years. And then I was approached by OAG, where I'm currently the regional sales director. And I've been here for over 6 years, and I've got a team based in Singapore, India, and Japan. And I lead the sales organization for the organization based in Singapore at this stage. And my journey with PATA, so it really started back in October 1997 when I attended the first young tourism professional. So PATA is something I grew up with because my parents used to travel to PATA conferences when I was about 10 years old. And they used to bring me all these different souvenirs that had this word PATA. And having an interest in the aviation industry, I used to see this word IATA. So I was kind of amused by the fact that both ended with ATA, right? So I wanted to understand what these two associations did. So one was more on the travel side, one was more on the aviation side. And little did I know that one day I'll be involved in both, whether as an employee or as a volunteer for PATA, where I'll be actually getting involved with whether it's on the executive board or the young tourism professional, or even speaking to the youth as I am today. So from that first step that I took, that's when I made different friends, and I've kept in touch with most of them that I met back in '97, and one of them happens to be the current chairman of PATA. So I met him at that event in Macau, and I think I was about 22 years old at that time. So it was an investment that I personally made from my own savings to go from Sydney to Macau to attend this particular event. Then as I continued my involvement in PATA as a volunteer, I used to fund my own trip to all the conferences. I think people noticed, so I was the first recipient of the PATA Face of the Future, as Ben alluded to earlier, back in 2002. And then through the years after that, I became a board member within PATA, and then recently as executive board member, advising the chairman on the strategic directions of the association. So all in all, I think one of the questions that came through is what sort of guidance do you give to the youth, and what sort of jobs does PATA provide, or what sort of qualification? I think PATA is all about a springboard. It's an association that you utilize. We connect with people and get involved to actually make sure that as you progress through your career, you can actually become more involved in different projects or different boards eventually, and volunteering your time to actually for the good cause for the association and building that network and keeping in touch with different groups of people. So Ben and I met about 15 years ago, and we've kept in touch, and whenever we need each other, when we attend this type of events, we have a deep appreciation for each other, and we have a respect of what we do. Ben's in hotel, I'm in aviation, and sometimes if we need something, we know exactly who to contact. So it's all about connections, it's all about being involved, and it's all about networking, getting to know each other. So I think PATA provides that springboard, and I think being involved as a youth is a good start to this exciting industry. If we go to the next slide, we can talk more about careers in aviation industry. As I said, it's quite a broad sector, and there's a lot of myth around it, because if you tell someone you work in aviation, they automatically think you're a flight attendant or cabin crew, or sometimes it's that they think it gets narrowed, so they think you're a pilot, right? So career choices are very limited. So that's what a lot of people think. It's like a very stereotyping. Once you become a flight attendant, that's it. You can't do anything else. I've come across different people where they started as flight attendants and they've become pilots as a result, because I think over time you can train yourself, you can do flying courses, and then become a pilot through different hours of flying experience. The other myth is it only suits a specific type of people or person. So it can be either very gender neutral, or it could be perceived as males tend to be pilots, females tend to be flight attendants, right? But that's not the case. It's quite universal, that it's not gender specific. I think there's a whole respect around women being pilots, men being flight attendants, and vice versa, and crossover. The other myth is it's too competitive in the sense that only a certain group of people get into aviation, which again is not true. It's open. There's a whole wide range of career jobs, different facets that cover the different segmentation of the industry. And again, it goes all the way from engineering, whether it's production, manufacturing, is it maintenance of aircraft? Some people tend to be very specialized into engineering aspects of maintenance. There's project management at different levels, whether you're developing a new product. It could be a project on a specific airport project. It could be sales and marketing is where I started from. It could be pilots, again, management versus flying streams, whether you want to be in the professional and the management component, or do you want to be a pilot and work your way through flying operations to actually getting into management thereafter. And one of the career starting point would be you could look at graduate management training programs. So hotels, airlines tend to have that in bigger corporation. They get advertised around third quarter of every year. So if you're looking at starting as a management trainee, working in different departments, and then specializing into a senior management role after say 15, 20 years, that could be another way of looking at it. Internship is also a good starting point, or doing ground services, or whether it's check-in, baggage loading. A lot of successful chief executive officers actually started in ground services, so they actually they understand all different facets of operations, for example. So they understand walking in customer shoes, what that's all about. So my suggestion would be that if anyone's looking for a variety of job roles as they progress in their career in their chosen segment, that they should be looking at whether it's at a hotel, housekeeping, reception, if it's an airline going from check-in desk to a management level position as a manager, then working as a senior manager, director, and then onto something else thereafter. So there's a whole myriad of professional segmentation that can be achieved from that. Okay, so I think that pretty much covers my presentation, the third slide. So I tend to use a lot of LinkedIn to actually share a lot of my knowledge and experience. So if anyone that would like to connect, please do so. I'm also on Twitter. I actually follow more on Twitter than I contribute, but LinkedIn is probably one of my preferred go-to places to share knowledge, experience, and thought leadership that I actually provide as part of my current role. Just looking at some questions that's come through from any student who would like to search opportunity in, what are the ways to find? It's difficult to find those opportunities for building and gaining experience. So I think, again, that question would relate back to networking, also being active on LinkedIn, building connections, attending events. I think there's a Patel Youth Symposium that will be held in Nepal. If you can go, I strongly urge and recommend that you attend that, because that's where you get to meet different groups of people. You might have a specific interest area that you want to expose yourself into. Get a mentor. Happy to, if anyone's interested in aviation, happy to be a mentor for them. Connect with myself if you're into aviation stream, and I'll be more than happy to assist. So again, thank you very much for your time and for inviting me to speak today. Thank you.
Such an amazing presentation, Mr. Mayur. Looking forward to learning more about those opportunities in our panel discussion. We are deeply grateful for having you here. So moving on, for our third presenter, we have Ms. Megan Epler-Wood. She has led her firm, Epler-Wood International, since 2003, to design net positive regional tourism development projects. However, Ms. Megan is not with us today live due to the time difference, but that will not hinder us from learning something from her. Therefore, here is a pre-recorded video of her presentation.
Thank you very much for inviting me to the PATA Youth Seminar. My name is Megan Epler Wood, and I'm recording this presentation from Burlington, Vermont in the United States. I look forward to talking with you today about the many opportunities related to sustainability in our fields. It's been a long journey for me and many of my colleagues who have been looking at sustainable tourism for over 30 years. We've certainly seen a lot of changes, and I look forward to sharing my insights on where the most exciting prospects for sustainability careers lie in the tourism industry at this time. First of all, we absolutely can't start any presentation without discussing the COVID-19 issues that led to the enormous downturn of the global tourism economy. And as you know, the recovery has not been universal across all regions, and that the Asia Pacific region in particular is still at the lowest rate of recovery. Now, we all know that's going to change, and that represents both opportunity and also, some danger in that it could go back exactly to the way it was before, or sustainability systems could be built in, which would lead to many new types of opportunities and jobs. I want to start with this video, which explains some of the essential thinking that has to go behind the change in how we look at sustainable tourism and how we will need to manage it in future. So I'm going to show you this brief video that looks at the overarching questions of how we go about it.
The invisible burden of tourism creates risks for residents, governments, and industry by marketing tourism without managing the destination. The root of the problem is that the traditional model of tourism management has stressed only demand and not supply. The demand model focuses on increasing tourism revenues to attract tourists by building and promoting a destination's reputation, creating well-designed local tourism products, events, and services, and marketing the destination's brand, its stories, and its prime attractions. The supply model looks beneath the surface, uncovers the invisible burden by determining the costs of managing assets, and reviews how the value of the destination can be enhanced. Assets are resources with economic, environmental, or cultural value that provide future benefits. In tourism, the primary assets which deliver economic, environmental, and cultural value include monuments, parks, and local culture. For tourists, it's hard to imagine Peru without Machu Picchu, or the Caribbean without its beautiful beaches. Protecting such assets is a vital function for business, government, and local people. No one will benefit from tourism unless such destination assets are managed and protected to hold value. To achieve this, both maintenance and investment is required. Think of it this way. If a factory were to put all of its revenues into marketing and none into maintenance, it would soon break down. The demand would outstrip the supply and the quality of the product would deteriorate, causing the business to fail. As tourism grows, destinations are beginning to fail because marketing has created so much demand it outstrips the supply of assets available. In future, destination managers will increasingly need to understand how to protect their assets by focusing on management of their supply. If the destination is breaking down due to lack of maintenance and investment, initially few will notice, unless there has been a steady effort to track the decline. This requires identifying and monitoring environmental and social indicators, watching how conditions change over time. Without this, it's easy to forget what has changed and even harder to remember what residents value the most. In most instances, infrastructure is required to protect vital tourism assets. Without safe and renewable access to water and energy and destination-wide management of sewage and solid waste, the destination becomes polluted and lacks the most basic requirements for both residents and visitors. As tourism continues to grow worldwide, destination managers must handle the questions of both supply and demand equally, and seek to visualize changes by gathering clear data on the changes transpiring.
So it's here that we have the opportunity to look at the questions of what is being measured and what is not being measured in our tourism economies now. In this publication, The Invisible Burden of Tourism, which I led back in 2019 with Cornell Johnson School and the Travel Foundation, to look at how are we going to put more measurable indicators onto the question of making tourism sustainable, not strictly for business purposes, but for long-term maintenance of destinations. And what we found was, at the time, pretty surprising and somewhat groundbreaking. And that is that typically governments, together with business, were accounting for communication networks, how many airports, how many tourists, perhaps just looking at water resources or wastewater management, but not looking at how that will work into the future for both residents and tourists. And so we therefore found that there were many things that are not accounted for, such as greenhouse gas emissions for tourism, which will become an essential part of government reporting in future. Not to mention, of course, our natural ecosystems, the question of making the transition to renewable energy and good water resources, which will come up more and more, and our socio-cultural resources and how to protect them. All of those need a more holistic approach to tourism management that will make the places people visit more sustainable in the long term. So our proposition is that we need to develop teams around the world to actually account for these areas as tourism grows. So what are the careers that are really very much related to this? So first, I want to talk about the fact that corporate sustainable tourism management is growing. More positions are available, and you can see that with other presentations today as well. Tour operators and destination management companies are now looking at how they are going to incorporate all of these indicators into their growth and expansion. Airlines, the same. They will have to look at their emissions and are continually looking at questions now of how to use alternative fuels. Hotels have put out really important set of guidance materials that is part of their Sustainable Hotel Alliance that would help guide with guidelines to measure very important indicators for the growth of hotels. Cruise lines and also private consulting companies are increasingly taking this on as an area of important opportunity. And the other area that is I consider to be really important and up and coming is this area of public-private management, where the government is managing some of the destination indicators. That would include our destination marketing organizations that are now becoming destination management organizations. That would include ministries of tourism, airports that require sustainability management that are often public and private. Regional government planning, where they are expanding tourism and are increasingly going to need to use those GIS tools in order to decide where and how they can accommodate both visitors and local people and also maintain important sustainable infrastructure. Local authorities have come to realize that the invisible burden is a very important part of their actual management needs. They need to measure it to understand how they can manage the destination and their cities and resort towns. In addition, smart cities around the world are starting to understand that they need to integrate tourism statistics into their programs. And of course, the intergovernmental organizations, including development banks and the United Nations, are all integrating these types of indicators into how they measure and manage regional growth. And then finally, the non-governmental organizations are becoming more and more involved in looking at sustainable tourism as part of larger plans for conservation of biodiversity, especially where you have large conservation organizations around the world looking at creating corridors for wildlife or protecting biodiversity, but that can link to tourism statistics. So I see many opportunities ahead with the challenge of getting prepared to do this kind of work and adapt it to the workplace. So we at Cornell University envisioned that many new people would need to attain skills in the tourism marketplace of the future, and that data-driven destination management could be a key skill that can be applied to many of these different categories I just discussed. So overall, of course, we are all connected around the world by the airline and airport economy. And this in itself is a very large proposition that all of us need to think about and can't screen out, but rather come to a better set of understanding of how the growth of our economy is leading to greater greenhouse gas emissions, and come to an understanding of how to measure that over time at the destination level and how that is impacting your economy. In addition, this shows the cruise economy, which can also have, enormous implications as more ports are built around the world. And port management is another area where sustainability management is a growing need, where one could apply the sustainability skills that are required for sustainable tourism to port management and cruise port management. So I'm going to present here just a quick description of the course that I'm talking about at Cornell University, so you can see how we are looking at it for young professionals.
By 2030, international tourist arrivals could reach 1.8 billion, which means 5 million people crossing international borders every day. We must manage, prepare, and protect the world's most treasured destinations, so that they can become greener, smarter, and more equitable in the 21st century. Those looking to create this future need to be equipped now with new knowledge and skills. And that's why Cornell University is offering an online program for tourism professionals on the sustainable management of tourism destinations. Whether you work in tourism at a national or local level, or in a related field in the public, private, or non-profit sector, you will gain the essential skills you need. Skills you can apply straight away in your workplace, covering areas such as governance, community engagement, impact management, data monitoring, and climate action planning. It's a comprehensive, self-paced 40-hour program that is fully flexible to suit busy professionals, available 24/7 through Cornell University's online learning platform, eCornell. You'll enjoy a challenging and engaging learning experience of the quality you would expect from an Ivy League university, with Cornell faculty lecturers and leading global tourism practitioners who will share destination management expertise on urgent themes such as climate change and over-tourism. You will receive tools that you can apply directly in professional settings, as well as cutting-edge research from top experts in destination management. And there are plenty of opportunities to check your understanding along the way. Our world's most treasured destinations are at risk. So, what are you waiting for?
You can see that we've really thought this through from the point of view of young professionals. And some of the things that we hope you will consider as you look into your own futures is how you can apply your skills and what type of measurements are needed in this field of sustainable destinations. We've looked at this at both Harvard and Cornell during my tenure in both organizations. And what we're finding is that destinations have these vital assets that will need long-term management. And those include historic city centers, cultural monuments, which, as you know, are becoming more and more crowded, and therefore will require special management and cannot be left to just the free and open market. vital ecosystems that will have to be protected and therefore need to be tied carefully to the question of where and how tourism grows. And then finally, our sociocultural systems that are essentially the piece that keeps us working together as local citizens to protect our own well-being is critical to this process. So how do we actually measure these things? We do find and have been testing these systems around the world. And what we have found is that the data exists locally for most of the types of data we recommend in the course. And so therefore, it's a question of taking existing data and applying it to these questions and identifying critical tipping points. Where, for example, if water is a very obvious one, is starting to become in short supply, what is the plan? Should more tourism actually be built in that area, or should there be a new infrastructure program to help handle the water issue? All of those things have to be looked at as tourism grows. And then getting that local participation so local people feel a part of that process, and then regular monitoring. So overall, when I was at Harvard University, I was also looking at this question of master planning and how to apply that as tourism grows. As you know, large tourism complexes are built frequently in areas that have many other resources. And master planning has traditionally been the process by which they plan large new resort complexes. But what we found is that they are not interactive enough and not based on regular monitoring of local resources. So we work to help pioneer what I would call smart destination master planning. And we include this in the course where you document development trends, look at watershed threats, understand where ecological services can help protect regional tourism complexes. What kind of infrastructure will they need as the pressure is going to get greater and greater to have sustainable infrastructure, and then standard monitoring of economic, social, and cultural value. So overall, we have a lot to say about how this data can be applied in not only the maintenance, but also the projections for growth. And that is where the tools of GIS, or the information systems that you use for mapping, can actually help a great deal, since they can be applied to digital mapping so that local destinations can look at their vulnerabilities and decide how to proceed with tourism growth. All of this is really to get you excited, to get you interested in how you're going to secure your destination assets that you would like to work on, how you can maintain and even elevate the value of destinations around the world with your work, and then how you can, on a regular basis, manage and measure impacts. So this is our list of where we think you need to focus your attention. That would definitely include lowering greenhouse gas emissions, handling increasing demand in a way that is through reservation systems that provide a better, more equitable system for those who seek to come to our most popular destinations, improving our biological diversity and natural area conservation outcomes, which can be very tied to tourism, and then protecting the quality of life, especially while elevating visitor experiences and increasing return per tourist on investment. So I hope you were able to get some interesting information out of my presentation today. Thank you very much for your participation in the seminar. You can reach me via LinkedIn. I'm easy to find. And if you have any questions, I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much.
Such a beautiful sharing from our lovely Miss Megan. If you're watching, thank you for sharing some opportunities in the tourism and hospitality industry. It is a great edge for our young professionals. So, are you guys still there? We are now getting close to our panel discussion and question and answer portion. But for now, let us welcome our last guest speaker, Mr. Mochamad Nalendra. Mr. Nalendra is a speaker, consultant, and CEO of Y-Steps Consulting, a sustainable tourism consulting firm based in Indonesia. He is also an authorized GSTC trainer in Indonesia and certified professional marketer by Asia Marketing Federation. Mr. Mochamad, it is your time to shine. The floor is all yours.
Thanks for having me. And yeah, I would like to thank you for the invitation from PATA. And my name is Nalendra, and you can call me Ale. I'm the founder and CEO of the Y-Steps Consulting. And yeah, this is quite interesting topics for the young students to find information about how we can grow our career in the tourism industry, because every three speakers before me that's explain about the wide range of the career in the tourism industry. So I just want to talk about the small things in the tourism industry for the consulting sectors. Okay, yeah, so a little bit about me. I graduated from the Monash University in Australia. I took a Master of International Sustainable Tourism Management. And then I also work with the Global Sustainable Tourism Council as an authorized trainer in ASEAN and specifically in Indonesia. And I also work closely with government and then local government, also with international clients for about 12 years. And then I also work with PATA, working with the two last project regarding the destination resilience, and also work with visa with the informal sectors. So yeah, I just want to talk about, firstly, I just want to talk about our company. We call Y-Step Groups. So our vision is use the power of responsible tourism to transform the industry and people's life in Indonesia. So we work as an umbrella company called Y-Steps Group, and Y-Step Consulting is one of the subsidiary company. So we just not delivery only a consulting service, but also we coming from the industry experience. We have a travel agent, Y-Step Travel, which provide a customized tour, which is emphasized on the sustainable and responsible tourism. And also we have a Y-Step Foundation, which work closely with the community in the remote area or rural area. We try to communicate with them and then establish tourism products, which is a community-based tourism. And the last one, we also have an online platform for the tourism education called Wise Academy. So we try to integrate this as one-stop services for our client. And then what we do, we actually do 4 main activities regarding the consulting. Mostly we work with the ministry, and then we work also with the foreign government to advise some the policy, and then advise for the marketing strategy or destination management. And then also we are one of the official partner of GSTC, or Global Sustainable Tourism Council. We conducted lots of training series, start ranging from destination marketing, destination management, and also more on soft skill. And the third one is about the research. We do some kind of market research, and then we also use various of the methodologies such as focus group discussion, and then in-depth interview, and also we have a face-to-face interview to formulate solution to our client. And the last one, it's all about field trip. We can learn from the industry player regarding how to implement the sustainable tourism in the destination level and also in the industry level. And a question that become our question is, what does a career in tourism consulting look like? So actually, there are lots of opportunity for you guys, for the students, or you just fresh graduated from your university. That's a really great opportunity if you want to enhance your knowledge, if you want to learn new things, if you want to enrich your skill. You can start from the consulting company, because because the main services is about the knowledge, and also how we can providing best solution to our client. So you can start it from the junior analyst. So relatively, you can make experience to 1 and 2 years, and then you start to be a senior analyst and tourism consultant until you have more than 10 years as a partner. But the difference is, as you know, that the obvious thing is about the salary, but also it's experience too. So you can maybe in the junior analyst, you work mainly with the data, and then you try to synthesize how we formulate the methodology. But start from the senior consultant, tourism consultant, and the manager, the soft skill is really needed. I mean, like a presentation skill and how to convince the clients about our solution, right? And then start from the senior manager and a partner. It's more than skill on the networking, and also how to collaborate with other entities to get the solution for our clients. And this is we try to summarize that what are the knowledge, skills, and attitudes that really required when we work as a consultant, especially in the tourism industry. So for sure, the foundation should be the knowledge, because the tourism is really complex industry. It's not enough to learn about only or solely the tourism itself, but the tourism is really combined between community knowledge, and then with the marketing for sure, and then with the law, and then with the technology, as a last speaker said. And not about that, also we need to improve our skills regarding the time management, because in one time we have lots of work to do and lots of deadlines. So it is necessary, it is essential to improve our time management. Communication skill for sure, and then interpersonal skill. When we interact with clients, when we interact with partner, we should give lots of assurance. We should represent our reliability. And then also our attitudes, like self-confidence. It's a bit strange if we lack of self-confidence while we're presenting our solution to the client. And then also, optimism, enthusiasm, that's really important. And so the three sets of elements that become more successful tourism consultants. And if you're curious about our approach, actually we try to combine between industry world and academic world. We use academic framework to guide our analysis, to guide our formulation, so that we can, our solutions can be accepted by our client. And sometimes maybe academic journal, academic paper is hard to and it's hard to understand for the industry world. So we are trying to translate it into industry language from the academic. So we try to combine between the two worlds. And if you ask about the consulting process before we propose the complete or propose the to our partner, start from planning. We should have a project management from the beginning, and then from the analysis, research, and then at the end we come to the recommendation. And number two is fact gathering. This is we require a lot of data. I mean the relevant data, we can gathering from the primary research or secondary research. It depends on the scope of works. Also, it depends on the output that clients really need. And then the third one is analysis. This is the scope of works start from the tourism consultant. So if you see the career paths that I showed you before, start from the junior analyst and then analyst, it's more on emphasize on the step 1 and the step 2. But start from the tourism consultant until the manager, it will be focused on the third step and the fourth step, because it requires more on skills and communication skills and also the related attitudes. And then the last one, we try to make a report, a concise report, and then a relevant report that we try to solve the gap, what actually the challenge that face our clients. And we don't want to very academic, but we also try to combine between industry knowledge, tacit knowledge that really required from the recommendation. And we work start from the international level. We work with the ADB, Asian Development Bank, Visa, and then with one of the property agent, Invest Island, and then with the Australian funding with the Korea International Cooperation Agency. And then with the national level, we work with the Ministry Tourism Authority in Labuan Bajo. And then with the local government, such as the city government, and then a tourism head office. So we have a start ranging from the international to local level. And for the case study, we had a project with Labuan Bajo Tourism Authority, which they want to formulate a strategy to target it more on quality tourists. So we made the studies and then research, and then we come up with the best solution, which country we are targeted and which kind of psychography, demography, and then also the country of origin. The second one also last year we worked with sustainable tourism property development. We work as a lead consultant, which is underneath the sustainable consultant, and then with the architect, and then more on the education consultant. So we try to concept the one-stop sustainable property in Lombok. So we did research for the feasibility study, start from the financial and then marketing, and also with the community. We try to find insight from the community surrounded. And the last one, this year we also collaborate with Ministry of Tourism to concept the campaign regarding how we can fight with the climate change. So we work with the community. This is under the project called Marketing Communication Strategy, or Integrated Marketing Communication Strategy, to how the climate change can be increased for the awareness among the tourists, among the industry player, and among the government sector. So and then last one, we work with the PATA. We train more than 500 informal sectors in the 2 cities, Bali and Jakarta. So the background of this project is actually how to equip the skills to the informal sectors after pandemic. So we want to be better resilient worker, better resilient destination. Topic training such as digital marketing, and then how to use the Google Translate, and then how to put the tourism hospitality mindset into the informal sectors. So we talk about more sectors, for example, like online drivers, tuk-tuk drivers, or the art who sell the works, artworks in the destination. So now we're still ongoing. Now it's more than 200 and 200 more go to train in Jakarta. So basically the consulting services start from training, start from research, and also start from consulting. So we integrated it as one solution. That's all. You can contact me in LinkedIn, Instagram, and we have also TikTok on behalf of Step Consulting. So thank you for listening me, and looking forward to your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mochamad, for sharing with us such an informative presentation. Now, the segment of our guest speakers have reached the end, and we will now proceed to our panel discussion. Ready your minds as we now begin another portion of this webinar.
So now it's the time for panel discussion. And if you guys have been joining our webinars, then my face should be familiar to all of you guys. My name is Nick, and I'm your Para Youth Ambassador and spearheading Para Youth program and Para Youth webinars, Para internship program. So we do have a few minutes for panel discussion, and I believe all the presentations from our guest speakers covered most of the questions and you had in mind, and I believe those questions were answered. So I have one question that goes out to all of our guest speakers, and I think it could be answered in the order of the presentation, how the presentation went. Auntie Ben, Mac, then Nalendra. So the question I have for you, all of you guys, is that a lot of youth, especially or including the youth audience that we have today, they are often worried and I would say scared going into the industry. And I think one of the reasons is because the tourism industry is known to be an industry with intense labor, with traditional career ladder, and it is a hard industry to be in, and it is time consuming to move up the career ladder. So a lot of youth are hesitant or scared to join the tourism industry. So could you share with us any latest trends about on the career ladder, how it is getting more attractive? Because I believe as a personal in the tourism industry, I believe the career ladder is becoming a lot more attractive for youth as of the moment. So could you share with us any latest updates that you have, especially within your sector of tourism industry, that you have about careers for youth or fresh graduates?
With hotels, in fact, it's already changed. In the past, we work 6 days a week. That's for sure. Now it's 5 days a week, and which same as other industry. On top of that, because of COVID, that elevate the way of baby boomer and also Gen X, which is now the boss in convention hotels. They learn that working everywhere is working as well. You know, it's not the clock timestamp anymore. You prove yourself with results. So I think the trend will be more on result oriented, more than the timing. So yeah, I think the trend is much better than before. And in terms of period of time, you say back then when me and Mac start, if you move before 2 years or complete each position, you job hopper. Yeah, but not anymore. Not anymore. You learn much faster. You have knowledge that you can self train and you can move, and public in general understands already that in 10 years, if you change 5 jobs or or more, and don't forget, if you're good, you climb up within the organization, and that shows strength. And right now, that's the trend. If you're good within the organization, you jump up, yeah, very quickly. In the past, if you're not 20 years, you can't be a GM. Now I see 5 to 7 years. Depends on what kind of hotel. It's feasible. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I think self-confidence is a good attribute to have that for youth, because as the industry is moving forward with result-based career or career options or positions, so be self-confident in the work that you do and believe in what you do, and I believe you guys will be able to climb much more faster. And thank you for that, Matt.
Yeah, so I think, well, I completely agree with what Ben said. I think it's all about passion, and it's all about following your passion for the industry. Aviation, as you know, in the past 3 years, it hasn't been as attractive for many reasons. COVID came, there were furloughs, there were layoffs and so forth. But I can tell you one thing, aviation is an exciting sector within the travel industry, and it's a fundamental sector that keeps the travel industry running, right? So without aviation, there's no economic growth, and without economic growth, well, we don't succeed, we don't grow at a faster level. So I still think we are in a very good position as we recover. And whether it's hotels, whether it's aviation, or any other sectors within that, technology, even in travel tech, is quite attractive these days, and sustainability as well. I know younger generation people are always looking at sustainability. So having that niche in the tourism industry and understanding sustainability opens a lot of new opportunities. And I think it's all driven by your passion, what you believe in. And I always tell people, you don't become managers overnight. You have to work your way through it. Yeah. So my suggestion for any youth out there is to take whatever job is available, get into the operational aspects, learn the business, and you'll climb your way up, as we saw in the career level progression that you have. And Ben said, it's not 20 years, it's probably about 5 to 7 years. And that's if you're good. So it's all about commitment, it's about dedication, working hard, and having a passion in what you do. And that all has to come out. So that's what I would suggest. And have a mentor, someone who can actually mentor you. So identify who you would like as a mentor, reach out to them, and basically pair up and ask as many questions as you can.
Thank you, Mac. I think it's important to have industry exposure for youth, joining these webinars and joining events, in-person events like PATA events or other events about tourism industry. I think it would really help the youth get to know about the industry more. And then if you take internship, whatever job opportunity that is available for you, then you will be able to start somewhere to start climbing up. I think it's a very important advice. Last but not least, Nalendra.
Okay, thanks. So it's been a change, I mean, for the last 5 years in the consulting industry. So now we need more young people because, you know, today's the digitalization and also sustainability, it's really important today. In the last 5 years, I guess the role of the data is really important to provide the analysis and provide the recommendation, because now, yeah, it's a big data and data driven. It's really important for us. So young people now is really interested on that field, like a data science. So that we need, you know, not only just normative thinking, but we need fundamental based on data. So that's why I really agree that like a Cornell, the previous speaker, it is important to combine between the technology soft skill and in the tourism industry, because we work in the destination level. It's really complex. It's a lot of parameters. So we need technology. It's different maybe in the hospitality, that's the services, but now the technology is really play a pivotal role in the tourism. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you for such great advice, Nalendra. So I think that covers all for from our guest speakers for the presentation and also for the panel discussion. And I do see a couple of questions on in the Q&A. What kind of internship PATA provides? And youth are looking for platforms for mentors to be involved with youth. So if you can share back, Jana, the slide that we have, I will be explaining more about youth, PATA youth, and then all about the internship opportunities that you have with PATA. So thank you to all our guest speakers for a great presentation and great advice for youth. And yeah, thank you again for our guest speakers. So next slide, please. Thank you. So PATA Youth membership is a individual membership for youth, and it used to be, it has been made more affordable with full benefits. So there are a lot of benefits that you can get with PATA Youth to be involved within PATA's network and PATA Youth Network. So you can gain knowledge with full access to these kind of webinars. You can build your professional network with our networking sessions. And we also do hold mentorship sessions. So I think this can answer your question about a platform where you'll be able to meet your mentors and ask questions. PATA Youth holds a exclusive mentorship sessions for PATA Youth members. And also, I know that certificates are important for youth, and certificates for all youth events and PATA HQ webinars are offered to PATA Youth members only. So you'll be receiving a chat now about our youth membership and where to go to find more information about our membership. You can visit us at patajouth.org to know more about our membership. So next slide, please. And I believe the next slide talks about the internship. Yes. So PATA internship program offers a special program for our interns where they can experience about the industry on an international scale. So all these speakers that we invited today, I myself met them at PATA events. So they are based in Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia, and I myself is based in Manila. But by being part of PATA in a way of being an intern, you will get a lot of exposure to the industry, and you'll be able to learn a lot about international tourism industry. So I know that you guys were motivated by our special guest speakers today to experience the industry firsthand. And there are many ways. So first would be to join our internship. And we have opened a priority application for PATA internship program, which started on March 24th, and it runs until April 30th. And priority application means that you can stay ahead of everyone who applies for internship by being our PATA youth member. So, and then the next one would be you can check out multiple opportunities on PATA job board. And Centara Hotels and Resorts, represented by Auntie Ben here, is also hiring. So you can check out our website on PATA job board as well. So just with $20 a year, become a PATA youth member, and you'll be able to receive all these benefits and get more information about the industry firsthand. So please visit our website for more information. And now that's all for the information about PATA Youth and PATA Youth membership. So back to you, Danica, to close up the session.
Thank you, Nick, for the information on PATA Youth membership, and opportunities for youth. Once again, this webinar is brought to you by PATA Youth, co-organized with PATA Philippines LPU Manila Student Chapter, and also in collaboration with PATA Bangkok University Student Chapter, PATA India Christ University, Dusit Tony College, and the Hong Kong Polytechnic University. Thank you so much to our dear audiences for attending this webinar, and special thanks to our guest speakers for the presentations and insights as well. If you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact the PATA Youth team through email at ytp@pata.org. Have a great one, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Auntie Ben. Thank you, Mac. Thank you, Nalendra.
Thank you. Bye.